And hello everyone, and this is a presentation on the airline industry environment group assignment by myself, Lachlan Johnson-Thomas, Bradley James and Jason Tang.
So, hey guys, it's Jason talking here. So what we did on the airline simulator, which more than once. So basically we set up an airline in the airline simulations in any country and cities, and we tried a total number of 3 times, and the first twice wasn't very successful. So we had a final attempt at which combined with all the learning points from the previous 2 attempts. So we learned a few things. And then we wrote about the report on the learning curve we had and what we learned from our mistakes. So basically from the first 2 attempts. And also we wrote about what we learned in the class, which was the aviation airline industry, and linked to the simulation. Cool. So now we're going to hand it to Brett to talk about our first attempt.
Radio. So our first attempt was called Chaos Air. It was based in Dubai and flew only one route to Mumbai, which was in order to capitalize on the high demand in this area. We flew a Boeing 737, and the model we chose was a low-cost carrier. The main reason the airline failed was due to the high cost of gate fees and maintenance from the Boeing 737, and this resulted in losing quite a lot of money pretty quickly.
Unfortunately, Brad's having a few technical difficulties at the moment, so I'm just going to step in whilst he sorts them out. Here we've got the income statement for our first attempt. As you can probably see, right from the get-go, ticket sales 53,041,728, with in-flight services another 2.7 million on top of that. But unfortunately, operating costs and non-operating expenses became a bit of an issue for us. As you can see, get down to the end, we made a total revenue of $55,805,553 in 1981, but our expenses were $76,444,938, which meant we lost $20,639,345 in the first year. And if we go back up until the airline ceased, we were still losing money.
Yeah, but I think we tried a few things here from the start to the last month, which was the February, because we could see here at the start we were losing about the profit margin was minus 36%, and then we got it down to minus 10%, which was pretty good effort by 26%. But however, I think we did something regarding the human resource, changing the price, trying to figure out, like, trying the best to do the in-flight service and etc. But at the end, that was the best we could do, which was minus 10% on the profit margin. And then, however, it was obviously too late for us to either start another route or finding some other aircrafts instead of the 737, or some other airports to renegade to restart. So I guess that's one of the reasons why we decided to go bankrupt.
Yes, it was. I haven't got anything else to add to it, so unless you want to say anything else, I'm happy to go to mine.
Yeah, so I guess in conclusion here, again, as Brett having better difficulties of connecting the internet, so we're just going to be stepping up. So yeah, basically we chose a airport to start with, which the airport had really good demand. One of the reasons why we chose Mumbai, the route between Dubai and Mumbai, was that there were no one in the market. Like, we were the only one flying these two destinations, so therefore we could take all the 800 passengers daily demand. But unfortunately, just by having one 737, and it was just not enough to overcome the operating expenses. Cool.
Cool. Right, so this was our second attempt with AIE2 smiley face. It was LCC business model based in
The capital of
Slovenia.
Yes, it was.
We operated a single 737-200 advanced, like we did with the first attempt, in all economy layout. Single aircraft type as well with the 737. We serve Milan, Moscow, and also Zurich as destinations. However, we had issues again with high operating costs due to maintenance, gate leasing of the aircraft, and also not enough destinations to actually serve that had a low cost in gate leasing, but also in high demand in passengers. This resulted in not making enough profit and the aircraft being seized by the leaser and ultimately ceasing operations as a carrier. And here we've just got a slight look at human resource costs. $950,240 a month. On top of that, with the 737 costs and other operational costs, just couldn't turn a profit. Jason, got anything to add?
No, that was pretty much it. Again, we tried to lower the human resource, which is the staff salary, as much as we could. But yeah, at the end of the day, we still have to pay them. So and yeah, again, it was just not enough to make a profit.
Yeah. I think part of the issue also being is that Slovenia is so far away from the rest of Western Europe, where everyone sort of travels.
Yeah,
there's less destinations to sort of serve.
That's right. And also, it was part of the Eastern parties, so there were some like slightly political reasons, like destinations are restricted, or also we flew to a few quite expensive airports, such as the Zurich. So the monthly gate cost will be easily $500,000 per month, and then yeah, by doing that one or two flights per day, it was just not enough.
Yes, exactly right.
Cool. So the AIE3 smiley face, which is our third and final attempt. So this time we got it right. Well, we sort of got it right. At least we are making a positive revenue. So this time we selected a country that was a neutral country in the time frame of the Cold War. So basically we did some research and had looked some politics, or also the what was going on between the US and USSR. So then we came up with the solution of Switzerland. So instead of choosing a bigger city like Zurich, we thought the Geneva was a better choice in terms of gate costs and passenger demands. So it was actually, I make correct lucky here. So it was more like a valued-based airline instead of a low-cost carrier business model. However, there were some points we had to seek low-cost carrier business strategies to keep us going and survive in some like market competitions. So basically, we initially operated with a single Dash 7. The game started just like any other games. We started with $7.5 million, so with a choice of leasing one aircraft. So therefore, the Dash 7 was the one we chose. And later, we add on a Antonov 26, then another Dash 7, and finally, we add a Lockhart 100. It was an interesting decision, but it was basically we wanted to expand the airline. We didn't want to. We wasn't quite happy with a monthly revenue just $200,000, so we decided to lease another aircraft. However, there were not many choices on the market. I think there was only a Fairchild Metroliner and a Lockhart, so we went for the Lockhart. And the more destinations to serve with high demand, and Switzerland was a perfect place. Like in location, it's not I consider as the Central Europe, but however it is quite close to countries like France, Italy, or even it's not too far to countries like Ukraine, which is one of our destinations. So look, if you can turn to next slide.
Yes, I was just going to point out Sweden isn't too far away either geographically.
Yeah, that's right, because two of our destinations are actually in Sweden. So we did contact some competitions from other group. So I'm pretty sure the other group was the largest airline in the world we were playing, but we did lower our price. So basically it was kind of like a price war. So we lowered our price to remain in the market, so we don't get completely just get squeezed out of the game. And then so by lowering the price, we win back the passengers and increase the load factors. So basically overnight we got on the game, or the next morning we got on the game, and then we saw the load factor was only like 5%, and then that night has cost us about, I think it was $4 to $5 million, which we only had like $6 or $5 million that time. So it was pretty much all the cash asset were lost. And we also learned that to make the most amount of profit from any route, you do not have to have a full load of passengers. So it can also depends on the situation. So sometimes if you have an aircraft configuration with all economy seats, then you probably want to have a 100% load factor. That's not taking into consideration of any holidays or any other events. Mainly because most of our aircrafts has a smaller seat number, let's say 50 to 60 seats. So if you lower the price by $2 to, if you increase the price by $2, then that $2 times 50, you get $100 more per day for your profit. Then that's not enough to sell to counteract by selling 2 more tickets. So basically 100% load factor was good for economy. However, as we had some aircrafts with business and first class, so 92 was a pretty good number. So that's the number we worked out with most of our destinations and routes, that 92% load factor was making the most profit. And also the airline overall has a success, as it has been making a lot of money. Not a lot, but so far we are making about $14 million in total. All right, so here's our third attempt, which is again AIE 3.0 with a smiley face to hopefully we can do it better. So basically that's our destinations we have. If we look at the airline finance, we can see at the top we have a cash of $13 million. We had more, I believe, at the early of the month. But however, due to some other costs, so far at the moment we're having this amount of cash in the bank, which is considered much better than the first 2 attempts. And then if we come down here, back into the 1986, that's what we did. We lost a lot of money. We had only 1 aircraft with 2 destinations, and it was not enough to make a profit. However, we changed some of the plan, and then later to you could see here we were losing less money, and then for the first time we were making money, and then later it was pretty stable that the net income was around $800,000, and then also the profit margin was around 6%, and then 7% here I believe was due to the extension of aircraft lease by 5 years, so that way we got a slight discount instead of leasing aircraft year by year. So I think I extended by 5 years. That's why we have a slight increase of profit margin. And then, so the aircraft airline history, we could see here at the beginning we only have destinations 5, and then we reduced to 3. That's mainly because of the competition. So some of our destinations we were completely flying empty airplanes, and then we did some actions lowering the price, etc. So we could got it back. So we're flying 7 destinations, and then it increased to 9. Daily passengers, pretty much the same thing. We started with 1 aircraft, 1 destinations, then it increased to 2, and then here it reduced due to the competitions. You could see the curve, and here it has increased to 1100-ish, and here's another curve, just simply because one of the, it is the largest airline, I believe it's called Europe Power, whatever, AIE, has invented one of our destinations, so we lost some passengers again, and then took some correct actions, so got it back. So now it's pretty stable, as we can see. Daily flights and daily distance flown, that's pretty straightforward. What else, Lockie? What else we can talk about? I think that's about it. We never go except to joining any of them. So see, this one's still pending. I have request 2. I think 2 got reject, and then this one, the reason why the other 2 got reject was we're not really quite matching the business models, like the Star or the One World. They mainly are the full service airlines, but we are like sort of value-based airline or more close to a low-cost carrier. So yeah, I guess obviously we got reject, but this one's still pending, so we don't know what is going to happen. But aircraft, yeah, again we have those 2 -7 and 1 Antonov 26. The -7 is going pretty well. We did configure to some business seats. This one's got 6, this one's got 2, just because after the calculations and market research, we found that by reducing some economy seats and having some business seats, taking the business class demand from some destinations could actually increase the daily profit by a few $1,000s, or one of the route was up to $10,000. That's why we reconfigured. And I think if we look in detail, this one is making $1.3 million for the net profit every month. And the Hurricane, the interesting aircraft, is actually doing pretty good. It's making 3.9, almost $4 million every month. So even we can't really see many passenger windows, but apparently it's one of the aircraft making the most money. Configurations. Yeah, so we sort of, that's got a thanks to Lockie, done a lot of work finding the best configuration for both the in-flight entertainment and in-flight services. So it could end up a lot of annual revenues. And the last one was the routes. So basically, we can see here a lot of the destinations we have up to 16 flights per week. One of the main reasons that we want to take as much daily demand as we possibly can. As we can see here, the economy is 228 demand and we have 226 seats on the market, and so we're having a load factor of fairly high. So that way we could make about $120,000 every day, and then we were the only one in the market. Compare some routes like I think this one's to Stockholm, which was our first destinations, and yeah, so basically the largest airline in the game, Europalux AIE, so they decided to fly the same route, and we lost a lot of money at the first and a lot of market share. So basically we were having 100%, now we lost 47. And then the daily profit, I'm pretty sure, has reduced by $15,000 per day, or up to, or maybe 20,000. So it's almost 1/3 of daily profit. But by lowering the price, we could maintain ourselves in the market. So which is a good thing, not just giving the market away. And anything else to add, Lockie?
No, I haven't got anything else to.
Yeah, so basically we've wrote that in the conclusion. The this time for the 3.0, we did take a different approach. So was a bit of mix between a value-based airline and a low-cost carrier. However, when it came to a competition with some bigger organizations, we had to use the low-cost carrier model to lower the price as much as we could. Even that route was not making much money at all, but we wanted to remain competitive and then remain in the market. So that's what we did. And also, as we mentioned earlier, the load factors, so it depends on the aircraft configuration, the cabin layout. Sometimes 100% load factor could give us the maximum daily profit, but sometimes a 92 to 93% load factor was making the most amount of money. And also there are some, one of the first issues we faced when we started the airline was one single aircraft with a single destinations was not making enough money. Was pretty much the same problem with the first two games, which we could see here, a minus 49% margin. Then what we realized was basically we had actual 8 hours spared for the aircraft, and for those 8 hours the aircraft was just sitting on the ground. So that's why we decided to add on another destinations, but by flying only 2 flights a week to that destinations, again it was not really efficient. So therefore we add on another aircraft. Then it turned out to be the Antonov 26. So from having 2 destinations, 2 aircrafts, we started to make money. So from there, we just kept on going and then keep increasing on the aircraft fleet and destinations. So that's how we sort of achieved where we are today with a cash of $13 million. Cool, that's all I've got to say.
I haven't got anything else to add to that.
Cool, and if we can just go back to the main screen. All right, cool, and just going through, yeah, like if you just want to have a quick talk about your conclusion on the AIE 2.
Basically, AIE 2, we learnt a little bit from the mistakes in the first one, Chaos Air, but basically the same mistakes were repeated. Just we hadn't quite selected the right base for the airline to be working out of, and just the costs were too high for us to actually do anything really. But you know, we learnt from the first two, and we ended up quite well in the third attempt. I think be fair to say, Jason.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm pretty sure Brett will agree on that. And so that's about it.
Yeah, well, thank you for listening to us, and hopefully this sort of makes sense.